Tomorrow, I die. And today, I would unburden my soul. My immediate purpose is to place before the world, plainly, succinctly, and without comment, a series of mere household events. These events have destroyed me.
The Edgar diaries.
From my infancy, I was noted for the docility and humanity of my disposition. My tenderness of heart was even so conspicuous as to make me the jest of my companions. I was especially fond of animals, and was indulged by my parents with a great variety of pets. This peculiarity of my character grew with my growth, and in my manhood, I derived from it one of my principal sources of pleasure. I married early, and was happy to find in my wife a disposition not uncongenial with my own. We had birds, goldfish, a fine dog, rabbits, a small monkey, and a cat. This latter was a remarkably large and beautiful animal, entirely black and sagacious to an astonishing degree. My wife regarded all black cats as witches in disguise, not that she was ever serious upon this point. Pluto, this was the cat's name, was my favorite pet and playmate. He attended me wherever I went about the house. We were friends for several years. I grew, day by day, more moody, more irritable. I suffered myself to use intemperate language to my wife. I even offered her personal violence. For what disease is like alcohol? And at length, even Pluto, who's now becoming old, and consequently somewhat peevish, even Pluto began to experience the effects of my ill temper. I came home drunk, ready to crunk.
And then what happened?
I seized him. In his fright at my violence, he inflicted a slight wound upon my hand with his teeth. I took from my waistcoat a pocket pen knife, opened it, grasped the poor beast by the throat, and deliberately cut one of its eyes from the socket. I blush, I burn, I shudder, while I pen the damnable atrocity. I slipped a noose around its neck and hung it to the limb of a tree. Hung it, tears streaming from my eyes, bitterest remorse at my heart. Hung it, because I knew that it had loved me, and because I felt it had given me no reason of offense. The curtains of my bed were in flames. The whole house was blazing. I guess you could say it was lit. On the day succeeding the fire, I visited the ruins. The walls, with one exception, had fallen in. This exception was found in a compartment wall. I approached and saw the figure of a gigantic cat. There was a rope about the animal's neck. My attention was suddenly drawn to some black object. It was a black cat, a very large one, fully as large as Pluto. This cat had a large, although indefinite splotch of white, covering nearly the whole region of the breast. Like Pluto, it had also been deprived of one of its eyes. I soon found a dislike to it arising within me. I avoided the creature, a certain sense of shame preventing me from physically abusing it. The cat followed me down the steep stairs, and, nearly throwing me headlong, exasperated me to madness. Uplifting an axe, and forgetting in my wrath, I aimed a blow at the animal, but this blow was arrested by the hand of my wife. I threw my arm away from her grasp and buried the axe in her brain. She fell dead upon the spot, without a groan. I carefully deposited the body against the inner wall. My next step was to look for the beast, which had been the cause of so much wretchedness, for I had, at length, firmly resolved to put it to death. The second and third day passed, and still my tormentor came not. Once again, I breathed as a free man. The monster, in terror, had fled the premises forever.
So, how did it happen? How did you end up in jail?
The police came on the fourth day. It was fine. They didn't find anything. I'd hidden it well. But I got cocky. I started boasting. I rapped heavily. A dozen stout arms were toiling at the wall. It fell bodily, the corpse, already greatly decayed and clotting with gore, stood erect before the eyes of the spectators. Upon its head, with red extended mouth and solitary eye of fire, sat the hideous beast whose craft had seduced me into murder, and whose informing voice had consigned me to the hangman. I had walled up the monster within the tomb.